My jealous sister-in-law and her family accused me of stealing her diamond ring. But when the truth came out, she wasn't ready for that shock. I, 29F, have been married to my husband Shane, 31 meters, for 5 years. We have a good relationship and a comfortable life. Shane has a sister, Tori, 33, who's been married to her husband, Mike, 35 meters, for 8 years. Tori and I never really got along from the day Shane introduced me to his family. Tori seemed to have a problem with me. At first I thought it was just because she was protective of her brother, but as time went on, I realized there was more to it. I grew up in a middle-class family. My parents worked hard to provide for me and my siblings. We never had luxuries, but we had everything we needed. I went to college on scholarships and worked part-time jobs to pay for my expenses. After graduation, I got a job at a tech company and worked my way up. Tori, on the other hand, came from a wealthy family. She never had to worry about money and got everything she wanted. She went to an expensive private college and then married Mike, who also came from a rich family. Tori didn't work and spent her time shopping, going to spas, and attending social events. When Shane and I started dating, Tori made it clear that she didn't think I was good enough for her brother. She would make snide comments about my clothes, my job, and my background. She often tried to set Shane up with her rich friends, even though he was dating me. Despite Tori's attitude, Shane and I got married. Our wedding was simple but beautiful. We paid for it ourselves and had a small ceremony with close friends and family. Tori complained about everything at the wedding, from the food to the decorations. She even wore a white dress, which I chose to ignore to avoid drama. After we got married, Shane's career took off. He got promoted several times and started earning a good salary. We were able to buy a nice house and go on vacations. This seemed to make Tori even more jealous. She would constantly compare our lives to hers, always trying to one-up us. Last month, Shane's parents invited the whole family for a weekend at their lake house. I didn't want to go because of Tori, but Shane convinced me it would be good for family bonding. The first day went okay. We all arrived on Friday evening and had dinner together. Tori barely spoke to me, which was fine by me. On Saturday morning, we went for a swim in the lake. After lunch, Tori suggested we all play board games. While we were playing, Tori kept showing off her new diamond ring. She made a big deal about how expensive it was and how her dad had surprised her with it for their anniversary. I complimented the ring to be polite, but Tori just rolled her eyes at me. Later that afternoon, I decided to take a nap. I was tired from the drive and the swimming. I went to the guest room Shane and I were staying in and fell asleep. I woke up about an hour later to shouting. I went downstairs to find Tori screaming and crying. She was yelling that her diamond ring was missing. Everyone was trying to calm her down and help her look for it. Tori was turning the living room upside down, throwing cushions and looking under furniture. Suddenly, Tori pointed at me and shouted that I must have stolen her ring. She said I was jealous of her ring and wanted it for myself. I was shocked and denied it immediately. Shane defended me, saying I would never do such a thing. Tori insisted that I was the only one who had been alone in the house while everyone else was outside. She demanded that I empty my pockets and show her my bags. I was humiliated, but did as she asked to prove my innocence. The ring wasn't there, but Tori wasn't satisfied. To my horror, Mike joined in and accused me of hiding the ring somewhere. He said I must have taken it out of jealousy and suggested searching our room. I couldn't believe what was happening. I looked to Shane's parents for support, but they seemed unsure. Shane's dad suggested we all search the house thoroughly. We spent hours looking everywhere, but the ring didn't turn up. As time passed, I could see doubt creeping into everyone's eyes. Even Shane's mom, who had always been kind to me, was giving me suspicious looks. By dinner time, the atmosphere was unbearable. Tori was still crying, and Mike was comforting her while glaring at me. Shane's cousins were whispering among themselves, and I could feel their accusing stares. The breaking point came when Shane's dad pulled Shane aside. I overheard him telling Shane to man up and either make me give the ring back or pay for it. He said the ring was worth thousands of dollars, and Tori was devastated. Shane lost his temper. He shouted at his dad, saying he couldn't believe his own family would accuse me without any proof. He yelled that I was innocent and that Tori probably just misplaced the ring. This led to a heated argument with everyone taking sides. I felt sick to my stomach. I couldn't believe this was happening. I had never stolen anything in my life, and now I was being treated like a criminal by my husband's family. In the middle of the argument, Shane grabbed my hand and said we were leaving. He told his family he was disappointed in all of them for jumping to conclusions and treating me This way we packed our bags quickly and left despite his parents' protests. On the drive home, Shane was fuming. He kept apologizing to me and saying he couldn't believe his family would do this. I was in shock and didn't know what to say. I felt guilty for causing this rift in Shane's family, even though I knew I hadn't done anything wrong. When we got home, Shane's phone was flooded with messages from his family. Tori was demanding we pay for the ring. Mike had sent a long text accusing me of ruining their lives over my jealousy. Shane's parents were asking him to be reasonable and come back to sort things out. Shane blocked all their numbers that night. He said he didn't want to talk to any of them until they apologized to me, but I could see how much this was hurting him. He loved his family and this rift was tearing him apart. A week has passed and the situation hasn't improved. Tori has been posting on social media about how I stole her precious anniversary gifts. Some of Shane's extended family members have reached out urging us to do the right thing and pay for the ring to keep the peace. I'm at a loss. I know I didn't take the ring, but I have no way to prove it. Shane believes me, but I can see the toll this is taking on him. He's lost weight and isn't sleeping well. He's even considering changing jobs so we can move to a different city and get away from all this drama. Part of me wonders if we should just pay for the ring to make this all go away, but it's a lot of money, and more importantly, it would be admitting to something I didn't do. I'm afraid if we give in now, Tori will hold this over my head forever. I never wanted to come between Shane and his family. Despite our differences, I always hoped Tori and I could eventually get along. Now it seems like that will never happen. I don't know what to do. Should I insist on my innocence even if it means Shane loses his family? Should we pay for the ring to keep the peace? How can I prove I didn't take something when there's no evidence? Either way, this whole situation has been a nightmare. I've lost sleep. I can't focus at work and I'm constantly anxious. Shane says he'll support me no matter what, but I can see how much this is hurting him too. So Reddit, should I admit to stealing a ring I didn't take or pay for it? What would you do in my situation? How can I fix this mess without compromising my integrity? Update: it's been 3 months since my last post and a lot has happened. I never expected things to turn out the way they did, but I'm relieved that the truth finally came out. 2 weeks after the incident at the lake house, I received a call from Shane's cousin Leah. She said she had some information about Tori's missing ring and wanted to meet me in person. I was hesitant at first, but Leah insisted it was important. We met at a small cafe the next day. Leah looked nervous and kept glancing around as if she was afraid someone might overhear us. She told me that she had heard something shocking from Angela, who was Ethan's girlfriend. Ethan was Mike's best friend. According to Leah, Angela had confided in her that Mike was the one who had taken Tori's ring. Apparently, Mike and Ethan had gotten involved with a loan shark for a business venture. They borrowed a large sum of money, but instead of investing it, they spent it all on gambling and partying in Las Vegas. When it was time to repay the loan, they were broke. In desperation, Mike stole Tori's ring and sold it to partially repay the debt. He then used the family gathering as an opportunity to stage the ring's disappearance and blame me. I was stunned. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Part of me was relieved that I wasn't crazy, that I really hadn't taken the ring, but another part of me was angry and hurt that Mike would do this to his own wife and then let me take the blame. Leah said she didn't know what to do with this information. She felt guilty for keeping its secret. I was afraid of causing more family drama. I thanked her for telling me and assured her I would handle it carefully. When I got home, I told Shane everything Leah had said. At first, he was doubtful. He couldn't believe his brother-in-law would do something like this. But as we talked it through, things started to make sense. We remembered how nervous Mike had seemed during the whole ring incident, how quick he was to accuse me. Shane decided to do some digging. He started by reaching out to some of Mike's old college friends. He learned that Mike had a history of gambling that he had kept hidden from the family. A few of his friends mentioned that Mike had been in financial trouble recently. Next, Shane hired a private investigator. It took some time, but the PI was able to track down the loan shark. Mike had borrowed money from the man, confirmed that Mike and Ethan had taken a loan and had recently made a partial payment with a diamond ring. Shane was furious. He wanted to confront Mike immediately, but I suggested we gather more evidence first. We didn't want this to turn into another situation where it was just our word against theirs. Over the next few weeks, Shane worked tirelessly to build a case. He got bank statements showing large withdrawals from Mike and Tor's joint account. Around the time of their Las Vegas trip, he found credit card statements with charges from casinos. He even managed to get security camera footage from a pawn shop showing Mike selling the ring. Once we had all the evidence, Shane called a family meeting. He told everyone it was to discuss the ring incident and try to move forward as a family. Tori and Mike agreed, probably thinking it was a chance for me to finally confess. The day of the meeting, I was a bundle of nerves. Shane's parents hosted it at their house. When we arrived, everyone was already there. Tori gave me a cold look while Mike avoided eye contact altogether. Shane started by thanking everyone for coming. He said the ring incident had caused a lot of pain in the family and it was time to clear the air. Then he dropped the bombshell. He told them he knew what really happened to the ring. The room went silent. Tori looked confused while Mike went pale. Shane then proceeded to lay out all the evidence we had gathered. He showed them the bank statements, the credit card bills, the pawn shop footage. He even had Ethan on speakerphone, who reluctantly confirmed the whole story. As Shane spoke, I watched the expressions on everyone's faces change: shock, disbelief, and then anger. Tori burst into tears, asking Mike if it was true. Mike broke down and admitted everything. He said he never meant for it to go this far, that he was going to find a way to get the ring back. Tori was devastated. She couldn't believe Mike had stolen her ring and then let an innocent person take the blame. Shane's parents were shocked and embarrassed. They turned to me and apologized profusely for doubting me. The meeting ended with Mike leaving the house in shame and Tori staying behind, too upset to go with. And Shane's dad hugged me and said he was sorry for telling Shane to make me pay for the ring. Shane's mom was in tears, begging for my forgiveness. In the days that followed, I received calls and messages from various family members. They all apologized for believing I was capable of stealing and for treating me badly. Some sent flowers or gift baskets as peace offerings. Tori called me a week after the meeting. She apologized for accusing me and for all the mean things she had said and done over the years. She admitted that she had always been jealous of me and my relationship with Shane. She said she was filing for divorce from Mike and asked if we could start over. I was suspicious at first, but I could hear the genuine guilt in her voice. I told her I forgave her, but that it would take time to rebuild trust. She understood and said she was willing to put in the effort. As for Mike, he moved out of their house and into a small apartment. He lost his job when his employer found out about the gambling and the loan shark. Last I heard, he was attending Gamblers Anonymous meetings and trying to turn his life around. Shane and I had long talks about everything that had happened. He felt guilty for not believing in me more strongly from the beginning. I assured him that I understood how difficult the situation had been and that I appreciated his support throughout. We also discussed our relationship with his family moving forward. We agreed that while we would try to maintain good relationships, we would be more cautious about getting involved in family dramas in the future. The whole experience brought Shane and me closer together. We realized how strong our bond was and how we could rely on each other even when everyone else doubted us. It also made us appreciate the importance of trust and honesty in a relationship. Tori kept her word about wanting to improve our relationship. She started inviting me for coffee or lunch, just the two of us. At first, our conversations were awkward and stilted, but over time, we found common ground. She opened up about her insecurities and the pressure she felt growing up in a wealthy family. I shared stories about my own struggles and how I built my career from scratch. Slowly but surely, things began to change at family gatherings. Tori no longer made snide comments or tried to one-up me. Instead, she was friendly and even defended me when some of the more distant relatives brought up the ring incident. Shane's parents went out of their way to make me feel welcome and included. They often called just to check in on me and invited us over for dinner frequently. Shane's dad even asked for my advice on some business matters, saying he valued my perspective. As for the ring, it was never recovered. The loan shark had already sold it by the time we found out the truth. Tori was upset about losing her dad's gift, but she said the experience taught her that material things weren't as important as trust and family. Leah, the cousin who had initially told me about Mike's actions, became a close friend. She said she admired how I handled the situation and wished she had been brave enough to speak up sooner. We started having regular girls' nights out with some of the other cousins. The experience also changed how I viewed myself. I realized that I had always felt a bit insecure around Shane's family due to my background, but standing up for myself and having the truth come out made me more confident. I knew that I had earned my place in the family through my own merits, not because of wealth or status. Shane and I had a long discussion about boundaries and family dynamics. We agreed that while we would maintain relationships with his family, we would be more assertive about our needs and limits. We also decided to start seeing a couples therapist to work through some of the residual stress from the whole ordeal. In a surprising turn of events, Shane's company offered him a promotion that would require us to move to another state. After careful consideration, we decided to take it. We saw it as an opportunity for a fresh start, away from the lingering awkwardness of the ring incident. When we announced our decision to the family, there were mixed reactions. Some were sad to see us go, while others understood our need for space. Tori, in particular, seemed disappointed but said she respected our decision. She promised to keep working on our relationship long distance. As we packed up our house and prepared for the move, I reflected on everything that had happened: the false accusation, the family drama, the revelation of the truth. It all seemed surreal. I never imagined that a missing ring could cause so much chaos and then lead to so much personal growth. I learned valuable lessons about standing up for myself, the importance of gathering evidence before making accusations, and the power of forgiveness. I also learned that family dynamics are complex and that it's okay to set boundaries even with relatives. Shane and I are excited about our new adventure in a new city. We're looking forward to building a life away from the shadow of past family dramas. We plan to visit during holidays and keep in touch, but we're also eager to establish our own traditions and social circle. As for Tori, our last conversation before the move was surprisingly emotional. She thanked me for giving her a second chance and said she was committed to being a better sister-in-law and friend. She even joked that she might visit us in our new city to prove she could be fun without her fancy clothes and expensive jewelry. Looking back, I never could have predicted how things would turn out. When I wrote my original post, life has a way of surprising us, and sometimes the truth is stranger than fiction. While I wouldn't wish the experience on anyone, I'm grateful for the growth and changes it brought about in my life and relationships.